Hello everybody, this is Lady Kayla here, and I know I'm late with my Game of Thrones reviews. I've just been busy, and sometimes it's a good busy, sometimes it's not so good busy, but that's that. I apologize, but here's my review. I think that I'm going to just start focusing on like key themes and issues and scenes that I really want to focus on, because you guys already watched the episode. You guys know that such and such happened. I don't need to regurgitate it for you guys. So I'm just going to focus on things that I want to focus on. I might skip a couple scenes, I might skip a couple characters, just because I feel like they're self-explanatory or I don't have anything to say about it. So anyways, let's get started. I'll just get started with Jaime and Brienne because I absolutely love their scenes. It's just, we see Brienne. I don't know if she's trying to return the favor because Jaime protected her, but she's caring about him, and she's watching out for him and looking out for him. And, she's trying to give him common sense because he's at just this ultimate low. Like, he lost his hand. I think he even, took up sword against his captors because he was hoping that they would kill them. They would kill him. And, he can't really fight with that hand, yet he tried anyways, because I think he was hoping that by taking out the sword, they would automatically resort to killing him, but that didn't happen. So Brienne talks some sense into him and is like, look, this is the real world. Bad things happen, and yet we still go on, because that's just what you have to do. And, you should get vengeance and, get retribution for what's happened to you. And so he decides to live. And I really like this because we're seeing a transformation in Jaime, and any great character will undergo some kind of transformation or multiple transformations across the span of their character development. And so here I think we're seeing the pivotal moment for Jaime, and so I definitely want to see how that progresses. I think the show is handling it very well, and can't wait to see more of Jaime and Brienne. Tyrion was interesting because it was kind of more about Varys, and Varys has gotten a lot of scenes in this episode, and while Tyrion is investigating his sister still, that doesn't seem to be the highlight. The highlight was kind of this revenge story, so you figure out, a little bit more about Varys, but it's also a revenge story about, if you're patient, eventually you'll be able to have this opportunity where you will exact revenge. So if this might be foreshadowing for Tyrion or something, so we'll see. Or it was just to reveal something more about Varys. The Night's Watch, that was harsh. It was just really harsh because we see this unrest between the brothers, and it's building up. You have the people who are just grumbling because they're working, and everybody grumbles when they do chores, and then you have those who are really resentful and they really don't like how Craster's treating them. The only thing is Craster is really important. Even though he does treat them like crap, every time the Night's Watch goes beyond the wall, they have some sort of safe haven. They know the Walkers don't. Well, not all of them, because they just barely found out that the Walkers existed. But, the Walkers don't attack Craster, and, he provides at least some kind of, food and some kind of shelter. So he's really important to survival beyond the wall. And so what happens is, since some of them don't like what Craster is doing, they have a confrontation. And this goes totally out of hand. And Lord Mormont knows the importance of Craster, so he's trying to defend him even though he's a jerk. But instead of just killing Craster, Lord Commander Mormont gets stabbed in the back. And as soon as that happened, I just my hands rushed up to my face. I was like, oh, and I knew it was gonna happen because I read the books, but I didn't know it was gonna happen so fast and so quickly. And I didn't feel like the scene brushed off Mormont's death. It was really a surprise. It was just oh, I can't believe that just happened. And So in the chaos, Sam takes Gilly away. He kind of just goes off by himself, and I'm just hoping that, you know, probably what's going to happen in the chaos is all those poor ladies are going to get raped. It might be a war between the Night's Watch, like a mini skirmish between whoever is upholding the Night's Watch vows and who's not. So I'm hoping at the very least, you know, they don't end up killing each other off, and that like the Night's Watch that are holding their vows get separated from the ones who aren't. But it seems like Sam's going off by himself, like completely alone without any friends, just him and Gilly. And so that jerk off that freaking killed Mormont threatens him, so I hope he doesn't survive. Anyways, another scene I wanted to touch on was like the Varys and Roz one, because I'm seriously like, what? Like, seriously? Like, first of all, they continued that Podrick joke, which is just like, okay, we get it. Like, I laughed the first time. It's not really necessary. Stop wasting my time. And this whole, like, figuring out Littlefinger's plans. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't doubt that Varys knows what's going on. First of all, I think Varys is in the know, and he didn't need Roz to tell him what's going on. I'm sure Varys knows everything. However, he's just not interested in Littlefinger. Like, he really has his own agenda. And so I don't really like this pitting Littlefinger against Varys, and just like, to what end? And, yeah, even like Varys says he's like not really that interested in Littlefinger, later on, but for some reason, like, he like feels he needs to protect the realm. I don't get it. But anyways, first of all, I'm pretty sure Varys would have found out on his own, because he just knows everything. And, Roz is the one who found out Littlefinger's plans, for Sansa. First of all, there's no way Littlefinger would be able to get away with getting Sansa out if everybody knows his plans. And Littlefinger's just way too cunning for all that, and yet here it is. Here it's happening. And it's really upsetting me, like, how stupid they make Littlefinger seem. Littlefinger is my favorite villain because he's anything but. He had everything just worked out, and here they are just, oh yeah, Littlefinger, he's not really that great at planning anything. He sucks. He's just this little greedy bastard, and he's just not very good at doing what he does. So, I don't know. It's pissing me off, but whatever. Next, I'm just gonna put it as Cersei scenes, because she seems to be, like, the key character affected, and she seems to be the most interesting one as all this goes on. And so, like, when she's talking to the Queen of Thorns, she seems like a little crazy when it comes to her children. Like, she thinks that, you know, they deserve the world, and, like, even though they might be little sadistic bastards, it's okay because they deserve the world. It's really kind of creepy. And I also like the scene where, you know, Marjorie did what Cersei couldn't. She's making Joffrey seem like a proper king, and manipulating him to be a proper king, while Cersei was just like, oh yeah, you could do whatever you want, and even though the people hate you and whatnot. And he really likes that power that he got when they went out there and they started waving. He liked the people liking him. He hated when they would literally try to kill him. So, you know, this whole scene is literally where Cersei, like, loses everything. She loses, like, her power over her child. She's losing the crown. She's Queen Regent, but once Marge marries Joffrey, that's not going to be her title anymore. So, you just see it in her face. Like, you see, like, the sadness when she's, like, losing her son, because she loves her son, and then you see, like, the contempt because she's losing her kingdom, and she lost the love of the people. Well, she never had the love of the people, but, you know, Marjorie has the love of the people, like, something that Cersei will never have, and never did have. So, it was just, like, that look on her face was just so, like, wow. Like, I had to note that. And then later she has a scene with her father, Tywin, and you could tell Cersei really resents being born a woman, but instead of like making that her strength, she kind of let it corrupt her. And so, you know, the whole time she's sitting there being resentful that, you know, she isn't Jaime, so she can't do she can't do sword training. She isn't Jaime, so she can't, you know, do whatever she wants and go hunting or, you know, join the Kingsguard and not get married. She had to get married off to some other guy, without her own free will. So, you know, she thinks that, you know, she should be a man because, you know, she thinks that she's smart and whatnot, but she let that resentment corrupt her. So instead of becoming smarter, she became paranoid and illogical. Like, she tried to bring up that the Tyrells were the bad guys, and Tywin's sitting there like, no, we need them. And she's like, oh yeah, they're the bad guys because they have their hold on Joffrey. And she's like, yeah, that's exactly what Joffrey needs. He needs some, you know, control. And I don't know when she said, like, oh, you try to control Joffrey, like, as a threat, like, oh, I'd like to see you try, like, I'm not gonna let you do that, or if she was just, like, saying, like, well, I tried and I couldn't, so maybe you should try. So I don't know what that was. But yeah. Next scene was Theon. Oh my god, Theon. Okay, in the books, I always hated Theon. Like, I just hate Theon. Like, I just, like, die. I don't like you. In this scene, where, you know, he's just going over everything that he's done, and, you know, this whole time he's battling, he's like, I'm Ironborn, like, that's who I am, like, I should be loved by my father, I should be the heir, I should be trusted by these people who are blood, and yet he breaks down and he's like, my real father lost his head in King's Landing, and that's because that's the guy who raised him. And even though he would never have been brought up with a title, Robb was his brother, basically. They were, like, best friends. And, you know, Ned might have never, like, treated him like a father, but he was probably present when Robb was getting trained. He was probably present, you know, during the lessons. He was treated every bit like a lord, even though he was not Ned's son. So, you know, Ned trusted him with his son. Ned trusted him and probably would have gave him, like, his own title and lands, like, as long as Balon didn't, try anything crazy. You know, so it was sad. And I had to cry when that happened. And then, there's a, like, plot twist where, oh yeah, I didn't bring you to your sister, I brought you back to your torture chamber because I'm sick, and you could just see, like, the look on his face. He was so, like, happy. He's like, oh, he trusted me, and I brought him back here, and, like, ew, it was just gross. So, anyways, next we get another Varys scene, and this time he's with the Queen of Thorns, and he seems to be concerned about Sansa, and, you know, he has other plans for her, and, I like when he talks about Littlefinger, where he's like, if he could be, you know, he would let the country burn if he could be the King of Ashes, or something along those lines. And so, like, I guess what they're doing with Littlefinger is, like, setting him up as a villain, but, like, a villain who's just so power-hungry that he's willing to destroy everything, which is kind of the opposite of Littlefinger in the books, because he does everything so subtly that nothing's getting messed up at all, except for what he has specifically controlled. Everything's controlled. It's like one of those contraptions where you push the ball and then it goes through all these different things and everything falls into place and does all these cool things. That's how Littlefinger works. But no, they're just like, oh, Littlefinger's plans are everywhere. Okay. Anyways, but they're setting Littlefinger up as, you know, just like evil guy who just really wants a lot of power. Ha ha ha, what a fun villain. No, he's typical run-of-the-mill villain. Anyways, And so, whatever. And later on, Sansa gets offered Loras Tyrell by Marjorie, so we see Marjorie digging her little claws in Sansa, and it's so sad because Sansa is so desperate for a friend that she's just hanging on to every word that Marjorie says, and I do not doubt that Marjorie will use Sansa in any way possible. So all these people seem to be interested in Sansa. You know, she does have a title, Stark, very one of the most powerful houses, and you know, she's gorgeous, and she's like a player in the game, and everyone's using her, and she can't really do anything about it. That's where Sansa's at right now. So, anyways, later on we go where Arya is in the Brotherhood Without Banners hideout, and we see Beric, and he is torn up, but apparently, you know, he is part of the whole Lord of the Light religion, and he seems to be really fair, and I really like the ideology behind what the Brotherhood Without Banners does. And so they were trying to figure out, you know, what Sandor was accused for, and it looked like they almost had nothing until Arya spoke up and talked about Micah. And so now I love Sandor. Like in this scene, like they did Sandor so perfectly. Like that's how he is. He's like, you know what, like, murder me if you must. I didn't do anything. I just follow orders. I'm a dog just like that. And then he like talked about his brother, and he like spat. He's like, oh yeah, you know, you talk about how, you know, you want my brother dead so much, yet everyone, like Robert and, who else? Ned is dead, except my brother. Like, you guys, like, should kill him. I don't care. And he really doesn't. Actually, I think he would care because he wants to be the one who kills his brother, but oh well. He gets a trial by combat, and so we're gonna see what happens to Sandor. Oh, I love Sandor. He's like my favorite. That's gonna be a good scene. I can't wait. Anyways, I saved the best for last. I'm going to talk about Daenerys Stormborn Targaryen. Anyways, she's just, you know, very poised and certain and sure of herself. She trades off her dragon, and she gets the whip, and she's like, these are mine, right? This whole army right here, this is my army, right? And they're like, yeah, it's yours. So she asserts her command over the Unsullied, and when she sees that they're hers, she's like, kill all the slave masters, and she gives them very specific orders not to kill any innocents. And I like when she turns around and she speaks High Valyrian to that slave master. Like, she knew what he was saying the entire time. I mean, she's a Targaryen. Like, she's of old Valyria. Like, what did they expect? So she takes the city, and Barristan and Jorah are looking at each other like, we feel so stupid. We feel so stupid. Like we didn't even think of this. Like this whole time, Daenerys is sitting there like, yeah, once the army's mine, it's mine. Like, I'm gonna have an entire army in the city. Like, duh. Like, no one's taking my babies from me. And nobody thought of that. I like how she did it single-handedly. She didn't tell anyone. She's like, I'm just gonna make these people look stupid, because they don't think that I know what I'm doing. So I love, you know, that she just did that all by herself, and Sir Jorah just looking, they just look like, whoa, we feel so stupid. So I like when they're leaving and she kind of like discards the whip, because, you know, it represents everything that she does not want. She does not promote slavery. Like, before they leave, she makes sure the Unsullied want to follow her, not because they're her slaves, but because they want to. And it all works out so perfectly, because Barristan and Jorah were saying, you know, Jorah was like, the Unsullied are so perfect, like, they'll follow your every exact order because that's what they were made to do. And then Barristan was like, well, Rhaegar Targaryen, he had men follow him because they believed in him. And Daenerys has the the best of both of those worlds. And so it's just like so amazing how that worked out. And you know, I just love that end scene, and then her dragons are flying. It was just so amazing. I was like, that's my girl. This is my girl season. She's just so intense, and like, I love her. That's why she's like my favorite female character. We still have yet to see if she can lead, like, as a ruler, like, over, civilization or society. So we'll see what happens with that, and now she has an army, and so we can see if she can lead, like, a mass of people. So, so excited. So, I can't wait to see the next season. Hopefully they don't, like, do too many filler episodes to, like, let us update where we're at. I want more action. So, tell me what you thought of this episode. What are your expectations for the next one, which is tomorrow, and depending on when this gets uploaded, it might be today. So, sorry. Sorry. Thank you for your time. Oh, remember that if you want to contact me outside of YouTube, all the links are in the description below. Comment, let me know what you guys think. What are your guys' likes and dislikes about this episode? We'll debate, and we'll have fun, and all that good stuff. So, thank you for your time. Bye.